regarding the phone banking, I'm having 6 phones set up at the B Street office next week, and they'll be available to candidates that we endorse and also for measures that we endorse.
Do we have, what is the timing on this measure for endorsement? Has it been endorsed officially?
No, September 1st.
September 1st, okay. So, September. Yes?
Oh, actually, I'm sorry. We'll be having our endorsement meeting is the 18th at the Veterans Hall.
Okay.
We'll endorse it as the group here in Sonoma County, but it still has to be endorsed at our local COPE meeting, which is September 1st.
Okay. Steve?
Yeah, a couple things. The September 8th event, it seems like, of course, you're going to be sending out letters, but it would be good to have a phone bank of some sort, or at least people identified who would follow up those letters, asking people for sponsorships and so on. I'm sure you know all about this, but it could, usually I've found that those kind of opportunities like sponsorships are a really good way for people who donate money because they want to get, a little bit of recognition for it. I think it's a really great idea to set up the phone bank and the precinct walking and all the materials as of a certain date, and so we can all gear ourselves and people who we can bring on to the to do that kind of work. But I have a question for you. It seems like there are different constituencies. I know you said that in the last vote, it really didn't seem to matter, age, demographics, community, whatever. But I'm thinking, there are different communities. There are folks who are very familiar and accustomed to using the library and all the wonderful services, many families and all kinds of folks use it. But then there's a whole part of the county that never goes to the library. And I guess I'm wondering, how are we going to convince those folks who may be of an age or have interests that don't bring them down to the library? Are they going to do it just because they know it's a good thing? Well, with a tax, I think you have to really convince them there may be some benefit to you. So I think that's maybe the messaging is something. I guess I'm asking the question more than saying how it should be. What is your thought about it?
Well, I have a few. So what you're talking about is persuading people that you think are not necessarily going to support the library because they don't use it. The polling doesn't indicate that. So what the polling indicates is that people connect the library to community, to children especially, and to free public service. And we're going to be on the same ballot measure as community parks in a lot of places in Sonoma County. Not everybody uses the parks either. So I want to continue that discussion with you in terms of persuasion, but the polling indicates that it's more of her experience on the phone, which is, I'm calling about Measure N for the library. Will you support it? Yes. It's really knee-jerk. It's really positive right away. So it's hard to answer your question because that's not what we're finding in the data. Yeah, Alex, you were next.
Steve, I would say, having been involved with the Library Foundation for a number of years now, I think that the library is the relevancy of the library in a lot of people's minds of why, we have Google, why do we need the library now? And I think that's the audience you speak to. But I also, in my experience with our support being involved with the library, I think it is true that a lot of people, even if they may question the relevancy of the library today or a user at all, still recognize that it's one of the last few free, really valuable resources for people that don't necessarily have the privilege or resources that they may have. And I think that that's part of this flyer and the messaging that the campaign will use, and it's the messaging we use on the foundation as well. This is why, even if you don't use the library, it's important to support it. And so I think that to me comes through in this flyer. I think it'll come through in the mailers that Dan will produce, and when we do our phone banking and talking to people. I think that's the response you get. Well, I may not use the library, but I recognize its intrinsic value for the community.
A lot of people use the library to ask Google because they don't have a computer. 25% of the population of the United States.
Yes.
Exactly.
To significantly increase our fundraising revenue, have we reached out to the major tech employers to workforce development and show that they're interested in getting the kids involved in computers and building the workforce?
We have not.
Can you repeat
I
that?
couldn't hear. She asked if we had reached out to tech employers, probably workers as well.
Medtronic, Agilent, I think all the science-based, we have so many employers here that are dying for an educated workforce and are not finding computer literate kids here when they graduate. And I see them donating to schools all over the county in big numbers. So I think that would be a targeted focus.
So a couple things. One, the gentleman who just spoke before you, Alex Anderson, is the president of the foundation, Library Foundation. So Alex, you should get on that. Two, our process for the finance has been to reach out to everybody that we know within the core library community and ask how you can help us. Now, those particular employers have not come up, not because we're opposed to them, but we just don't have a connection to them. If you have a connection to them, I'd love to talk to you after the meeting.
Actually,
Okay, thank you.
they're some of the biggest employers, so I think many of us probably have friends and they're trying to Agilent, but they're probably the people in this room. They're huge employers in our town.
Great. Yes, ma'am.
Are we gonna have material in Spanish?
It has been brought up. We have not produced anything yet. We can get stuff translated, and I would, if you want to make a note of it next to your name when you sign up, I'll have a connection for you to get back to you directly.